Hello, 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 and good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Nick, your favorite personal growth coach, and I am excited to be here with you. Another session of adulting in my purpose. We have been adulting in my purpose for wow, quite a couple of months now, since we have been in quarantine. The purpose of these sessions are strategically for our millennials. That's right, our 20s and our 30-year olds. Our new recent graduates, our young professionals, our young entrepreneurs, those in that millennial age who are out there trying to adult, trying to do their best, trying to figure it out, trying to understand their purpose, trying to go after their dreams, go hard, and to establish themselves as an adult, with adult responsibilities, doing the things that they need. And what I found is, in my mentoring millennials, a lot of them are just stuck, not understanding kind of what direction to go in, needing some of the guidance. So these sessions have been designated to help that demographic, just to provide tools and strategies, to help them in their process, to help them in their journey to see, own, and achieve their dreams. Earlier this year, I released a journal called Adulting in My Purpose. And the purpose of the journal is to help millennials go through a kind of a self-discovery process. So a lot of times when we are in the ability to try to understand what is it that we're supposed to do, we just don't have the right tools or have the right understanding of who we are. And we can get to all the way to full grown adulthood and still not have that answer to the question of, who am I? Who am I? What am I called to do? What are my giftings? What are my strengths? And these are the things that you need. And this is why personal growth and development is so important, because this is where you uncover this. This is where you understand who you are and how God has created you, how God has equipped you with the gifts and talents and your personalities and your passions and your calling, and how all that works for you to truly be and manifest who you are in the earth realm while you're here. So that is the purpose of the journal. And it has been amazing. We've taken groups of millennials through the journal, and that has been amazing, seeing the transformation, seeing the aha moment, seeing the confidence that has been established, seeing people just taking off and doing things they wanted to do or thought about doing, but somehow just didn't. And after going through the course, just having the ability and having the confidence and moving past their fears to take that step towards their greatness. So that is adulting in my purpose. So if you're out there watching for the first time, let me formally introduce myself. My name is Dr. Nicole Rankin. I am the CEO of the Cole Academy of Personal Growth. I am a certified personal growth coach, where I do speaking, teaching, and training with students. I work with students, but also work with the leaders that support them. And I do leadership development, personal growth, and communication training. And all of this falls into the personal growth and personal development, helping leaders, and everybody is a leader, helping leaders grow, not only to be better leaders of others, but most importantly, better leaders of themselves. So that's a little bit about who I am. So I teach, I speak, I train, and just having a wonderful time in this entrepreneur journey that I have taken over the past few years. So again, we have been adulting in my purpose. Again, let me know if you're watching. Say hello, like, share, start some watch parties, do all that social media stuff that we're supposed to do. Let me know that you're out there. I'm making sure that all my hey, Kendra, I see you over there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, all right, so I have all my social media intact. So wonderful. So welcome if you are watching for the first time. So we have been kind of in the middle, not a middle, but the first half of our series of adulting and purpose, we were focusing on dreams, kind of realization of your dreams, how to identify your gifts, how to identify your strength, adulting in your giftedness, adulting with strategy, making sure you have a strategy, making sure that you truly own your dream, adulting with ownership. So if you have missed any of those, trust me, go back, look at the replay, take notes, get those strategies, get those tips, get those tools, and start applying it in your life. So last week, I kind of did a shift. Last week was the first of July. And it was, like I said, the first day of the last half of 2020. So we know that 2020 has been a doozer. It has taken everybody by shock and by storm, and it continues. It doesn't seem like it's letting up. But I know for myself, I never could have imagined the first half of 2020 going like it has been. And I'm sure that you all can say the same. But last week started the last half. That means we have 6 more months, less than 6 more months now this week, but we have the remainder half of 2020. And I had challenged with the question last week of how are you going to finish this year? How are you going to position yourself to do something different in order to get a different result? How are you going to maximize your ability? How are you going to position yourself for your greatness, to do the things that you know you have been called to do? Yes, there are things going on in this world. Yes, there are tragedies happening. Yes, we're in a crisis, but that does not stop the idea that you still have purpose. That does not stop the idea that you still have an assignment on your life. That does not stop the idea that God has called you for greatness. That didn't stop. Although the external circumstances are going on, yes, and we are aware of it, and we have the understanding of it, and we know that we are human beings in this earth, and we have to deal with that. But that doesn't stop what God has placed in you. So we know that we had taken a pause because we were caught off guard in the first half of the year. People were put at home. We had to quarantine, we had to social distance, we had to, jobs and unemployment went, the economy is gone. So we were caught off guard, but now we're 6 months into this. So now is the time. We have 6 months left to put ourselves in a position to go back to where we first started and truly manifesting the dreams and the goals and the visions that we have. So that is what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about how you're writing your best story, like I started last week, but adulting with action. Because if we are going to truly rock out the last half of this year, we have to take action. Like I said, we've been caught off guard for the first year. Hey, Alex, I see you. What's up? Welcome. We were caught off guard for the first half of the year, but now it's game time. It's game on. We cannot continue to do what we did the first half of 2020, the last half. We got to take it up a notch. And not to say that for everybody, 2020 was bad. We know that we were all hit hard. We know we had to adjust. We know we had to be flexible and adjust with the times. But some people are thriving through the pandemic. Some people are thriving through this time, and that's great. But then if that's you, then how are you going to take it up to the next notch, right? So this is what I'm talking about. If you are in a position to want to be in your greatness, to truly live a life of significance, and I say that word, I'm going to say that word throughout this teaching tonight, significance, because there's a difference between success and significance. And the difference, when you talk about success, you're talking about things that you do for yourself, what you do for yourself. I can be successful. I can obtain my degrees. I can obtain a financial status that I want. I can obtain a wonderful house. I can obtain a car. I can obtain a lot of things, but that's what's for me. When you move from success to significance. Significance is about what you do for others. And that's the point where I truly believe that's where God has created us to go to. That's the abundance life. When we are helping others, when we are adding value to others, when we are using our gifts and our talents to serve others, because that's what we have been called to do. We haven't been given all of this greatness inside us just for ourselves. We're to be a river. It's supposed to flow through us. So when we're thinking about what is it that we're going to do and how are we going to maximize ourselves for the latter half of 2020, we got to take action. It's all about taking action. So that's what we're going to focus on. Facts that 2020 has been interesting thus far, to say the least. Right? It has been totally interesting so far. But again, we have the rest half of 2020 to go. It's not over. The game is not up. So we have to be intentional. We have to have a strategy. We have to have a plan. We have to know where we're going. While everybody's trying to figure out, we know leaders are trying to figure out what to do, who to listen to, who not to listen to, all of that. But that doesn't negate the fact of who God has called you to be and what he's called you to do. And that's where I want to focus on tonight. So tonight we're going to talk about adulting with action. Most people truly desire to do something that matters, but they don't start. They wait and they wait and they wait and they wait. And usually in the waiting process, other things start happening and then nothing gets done. So as young people, and you all are experiencing this world, some for the first time experience this kind of tragedy, you have to be young people of action. Good intentions is not good enough. We can have good intentions to do a lot of things. We can have good intentions to be better people. We have good intentions to do more, but that's just not enough if we don't take the right and proper actions to actually take that next step to get it done. So we have to go past just desiring, which is good to have a desire, but you got to then put it into action. You got to put a plan. You got to make it happen. You got to put things to work. So think about where you are in life. Think about the first half of 2020. Evaluate yourself, evaluate what has gone on, what you did do, what you didn't do, what you put on the back burner, what you said you was going to do, but you couldn't because you couldn't go, you couldn't do. What are those things? I want you to get them in your mind and get them in your thought process, because we're going to talk about being intentional about the latter half of 2020. So being intentional and living an intentional life really means that you're making a choice. You're making a decision, because, life is about decisions. My mentor, Paul Martinelli, says you are where you are due to your best thinking. It's all about the decision of where you are. So you have to make a choice to say that I want to live a life of daily satisfaction. And that's going to be continued by helping others, serving others, and adding value to others. That's that life of significance, be it small or large, however that is for you. But that's what an intentional life looks like. It's a life that is strategic. It's a life that is, it's planned. It has goals. It has aims. It's not, you're just not going with the flow. You just not, whatever happens. I say this stays, it is what it is. We say that. I'm guilty of doing it. It is what it is. But no, you have the ability to have control and lead your life rather than just accept it. So now in the latter half of 2020, it's time to lead. It's time to take the reins. It's time to take control. It's time to tap in. So 2020 can be like no other. We understand how it started, and we're still going through it. We're still trying to figure out. It's still uncertain, but that doesn't negate the fact that God still has a plan for you. God still has a plan. God still has a plan, and we have to trust, and we have to have faith and know that just because of what's going on in the world, his destiny and his calling and his purpose for you did not stop. So now we have to get in, and we have to say, now it's game time. It's game on. We have to make a resolution to say the latter half of 2020 will not look like the first half of 2020. So think about where you are, because wishing for change is not going to happen, right? Hoping for improvements is just not going to happen like that. Dreaming is good, but dreaming is not going to give you the transformation. Vision is needed, but that's not all that it takes. In order to truly manifest the things that you have inside of you, the greatness, and truly live a life of significance, you're going to have to change your thoughts. You're going to have to change your mindset. You're going to have to change your habits and truly create a life of positive change. And that's where we're going to talk. So tonight, Alex is going to be happy about this. I have 7. I have 7 strategies. Yes, yes, I'm back. I have 7. I'm going to talk about 7 ways that we can truly make the latter half of 2020 really intentional and really a really greater than what it started. So I'm going to start with 7. So number 1 is you got to identify what is important to you. Identify what is important to you. And I say that because you have to have core values. And we see in this world today that, your core values is going to determine your thoughts, your behaviors, what you say, how you think. And we see that evident now because, people who said one thing, now their real true core values are coming out. And we're seeing that time and time again. Every time we turn on social media, we're seeing all of this that's going on in the world. So you have to identify as a young person, what is your core values, and you have to define them. What are the things that you're going to believe in? What are your belief systems? And we deal with this in adulting in my purpose the journal. I think it's section on self-belief. Where we talk about this, and we actually have activities to help you identify your core beliefs. So if I were to ask you, what are your 3 to 5 core beliefs? Would you be able to actually say that? Do you know what you believe to your core? Because that is where you're going to have to start. Identify what's important. I was reading about a business article earlier today, and it talked about core values and organizational culture and how it's shifting, especially in this time of the pandemic. But it said that only 27% of employees truly believe in the value of that company. And I thought 27%. So you have a whole 73% of people who are working for a company with values they don't even believe in. And it just made me think, what do you think about personal core values? What are your core values? I know for me, it's God, it's faith, it's family, and service. Those I can name them. So think about your identifying your core values and what it is that you're going to believe in. That, as exactly Alex says, that is your base. That is going to be where you start. And that's your foundation. Just like when you, excuse me, when you're building a house, you want a solid foundation. That way that when anything happens, anything comes, any tornadoes, any or hurricanes, flooding or anything, you have a good foundation. Your house can stand. So that's where you start. So in 2020, now is the time, if you haven't, as a young person, as a millennial, as an adult, as you're trying to adult and trying to get it, establish your core values. Because when you establish your core values, then your decision making becomes a little bit easier, because now you have a standard, you have a benchmark. Because if anything is not if anything is not in alignment with your belief system and your core values, then you can cut it, right? So it makes your decision making easier, makes that process easier. So rather than you just kind of just flowing with the wind and trying to figure things out, what are your values? What are your core values? What are your belief systems? So that's number 1. I have that said, an unintentional life accepts everything and does nothing. An intentional life embraces only the things that will add value to the mission of significance. And I'll say that again. An unintentional life accepts everything and does nothing. An intentional life embraces only the things that will add value to the mission and of significance. So when you have your core values, when you know what you know that you know that you know that you know, and you can't be strayed. They said if you stand, and if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything. So when you have core beliefs, when you have a belief system, then you can move with confidence. You can move with your head up. You can move with the right mindset because you have that standard. You have that base, as Alex said. You have that foundation that's going to help you move forward. So that's number one: is identify what is important to you. Number two, because we're making 2020 is the remainder of 2020 is going to be awesome. Is if it has not been awesome for you yet, we're starting now. We got 6 months. We got to make this right. So number two is to take immediate action. And this we have to do is taking immediate action. That's what I said earlier. You have to understand that it's just not going to happen, right? Growth is not going to happen. Your dreams are just not going to happen. The goals that you desire is not going to happen. The visions that you have is not just going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You have to take action. And like I said, if you are desiring truly to live that significant life, to live a life that matters, to live a life where you're impactful and influencing and your gifts are truly being used to its maximum capacity, and you're truly operating in the fullness of God and all that He has created you for and for you to do, then you have to take action. And said, faith without works is dead. You can have the faith, but if you don't put in the work and allow God to work, it's easier to move a moving car than a parked car, right? You got to put in the work. Yeah, He has to move through you, right? So there's a story of a little boy and a father that went into his toy store, and then the little boy ran and he saw this statue of a man made out of balloons. So he went up to the statue and he punched the statue, and of course it's balloons, so the statue falls back, but then it rises up. And the little boy looks at it again and he punched it again, and the balloon did the same thing and went back and rise back up. So the little boy did it one more time and he gave it a big punch, and the balloon statue went back and rose back again. But the dad came and said, "Son, why do you think the man keeps coming back up?" And the son said, "He must be standing on the inside." And that's what we have to understand. There are things that's going to knock us down. All this pandemic, all this stuff that's going on, it can pull it back, but we have to look within to bring us back up. There is a God, there is a spirit within us, right? That is greater than what we're seeing in the world, right? That's what our belief system. I know that's my belief system, that there is a power that God has given us, that He said, greater is He that is in me than he that is in the world. I understand what the world is going through. I understand. But there is something greater on the inside, and that is going to cause us to rise up. And that's why we have to take action. That's why we have to take action in what we're calling to do. It's time to take action. We can't just keep going with the flow and be knocked down. The beginning of 2020 took us by surprise. We understand that. But now we're 6 months into this thing. So we have a choice. We have to make a decision if we're going to keep allowing that, because coronavirus is still there. Cases are still going up. Folks don't know what they're doing. Leaders don't know what they're doing. Those are still facts. But how are we going to move and how are we going to operate? So that's what we're talking about. So taking massive action, you have to allow your desires to take you to the next level, to take that action, to move to the next step. So truly ask yourself the question: what do you need to do today to get you closer to where you want to be tomorrow? What do you need to do today to get you closer to where you want to be tomorrow? Because we're talking about action. We're talking about massive action. So it's going to be determined by what you do daily, right? What you do daily is going to determine your journey to significance. So ask yourself truly those questions. So that's number two. Number two is take um, immediate action. So we have identify what's important to you. Two, take immediate action. Number three is find ways to be creative. Find ways to be creative. And I say that to say because yes, we're living in this new norm. It is a new norm, right? We can all agree. Things are not how they were post corona, right? So everybody has shifted. Everybody kind of has had to pivot and had to adjust. So things are different. And we have to understand that and embrace that. I mean, we can say things are different. This is a new norm, and we can complain and we can moan and groan about it. But what good is that doing? So it's up to us to find ways to be creative. And each and every one of you, especially my young people, you guys are so amazing, have so much amazing minds. That you have so much creativity, but you got to think outside the box. You got to come outside your comfort zone, and think about how in this time could you use your gifts, use your talents, use your desire to be significant, to make an impact, and to do something different? So I was reading earlier today. There's some stories about some millennials that made a decision that they weren't just going to give up, but just because of Corona, they were going to step up. They were going to lead, because that's what leaders do. Leaders do more. Leaders see more. Leaders act more. So that's what a leader does. So they decided that they were going to be leaders in this pandemic. So there's a story about Lim Elcad, and he's a junior in college. And of course, due to Corona, all the college students went home. So when he went home, he discovered that there was a shut-in for the senior citizens, and that was running out of food. So he decided to step up. And within 72 hours, he started this initiative called Invisible Hands. And he mobilized 1,300 volunteers to help provide food for the elderly who were shut in. That's just one. The next one was Ashley Lambert, and she's a college student. And she's studying education of the deaf and hearing impaired. And what she understood, that in this time of pandemic, it was even more difficult to be able to sign what was going on to a deaf or a person who was hearing impaired. And then when we went to mass, she felt that this population was being overlooked, because now you have your mask on, and for a deaf or a person who has a hearing impaired, they have to read lips. So she went into action. So she developed a mask that has a window, so the deaf and hearing impaired could be able to read lips. That's another one. Another one, Brianna English. She's a medical student. And she was starting initiative with medical professionals, because they're essential workers, but yet they do have a home life, right? They do have a home life. So she decided to take action, and she started a company to help our medical professionals and to assist with different needs that they have: babysitting, creating hand sanitizer, decontaminating the N95 mask that they were using. So she took action, right? So these are young people just like you. These are millennials in the trenches, getting creative, not allowing the circumstances, the external circumstances, to downplay what they have on the inside. They have a desire to help. They have a desire. They have gifts. They have talents. So they're stepping up and doing things that are creative. So you have to ask yourself, what can I do? And another story that just blew me. It was a young guy, and Quinn, and he's actually Quinn Calendar. He was in Canada, coming out of Canada. And what he did, he realized that, he saw the need for medical professionals to have their mask on 24/7. And what he realized, he saw that there was an issue because, when you put the elastic over your ears, there's a lot of pressure and it can hurt. So what he did, he developed a 3D earplug to help with that and relieve the pressure. And let me tell you, he was not even a millennial. He's a Gen Zer. He's 13 years old. He's 13 years old. But he stepped up. And that's the point. That's what I'm getting at. In order to move into that level of significance, in order to truly live an intentional, you have to get creative. You have to find creative ways to use your gifts and talents. You just can't, just because we're in a pandemic, just because we're quarantined, and just because we're social distancing, you can't let your gifts and let your talents lie dormant. This is the time now to manifest them more than ever, because they're needed. They're needed. We need you. We need you to step up. We need to manifest your gifts and manifest your talent. So find ways to be creative. Number 4, we're moving along. So we have, identify what's important to you. Take action is number 2. 3 is find ways to be creative. And number 4 is give your best efforts, y'all. And I say this to say, because as a speaker, teacher, coach, like I said, I travel and I do trainings. And I teach leaders who lead you all as millennials, be it college administrators, college professors, teachers as well. And one teachings that I do is about communication and how to educate and engage today's learner, helping them. I'm trying to help y'all out, helping them learn how to connect with you, helping them learn how to engage with you. And it's funny that when I do the workshop, the first question that I have for them is, give me some characteristics of millennials. And let me tell you, they're hands up. They all had their hands up and they're ready. But what they say is negative. It's millennials are lazy. Millennials are entitled. Millennials are, they don't listen. They're always on their devices. It's all of these things. But again, after going through the session, they have a change of heart. But when I think about that, here you have a generation that's being categorized as lazy and entitled, but that's so not true. You guys are amazing, and you are different, because you're growing up in a different times, and we have to lead you differently. And we have to understand that as Generation Xers and boomers and beyond, that we have to change our mindset in order to help you all get to where you need to be. But the idea is that what I'm thinking, that because you have people who are telling you that you're lazy, but telling you that you're entitled, you kind of become self-prophecy for you. And you say, well, if they believe that I'm lazy, then I'm not going to give my effort. But again, for those that are wanting to move past just success and in life and into a level of significance where you're truly impacting others and influencing others, and your gifts and your talents, and truly adulting in your purpose, then you got to give your best effort. You got to go hard. You have to, it's game on. You have to be intentional, and you have to, without intent in your life, it's like you're just aimlessly just living life without any focus, without any energy, without any purpose. It's kind of like playing football without the touchdown line, or without the goal, or playing basketball without a hoop. Like what sense does that make? So you got to give your best efforts. You got to give your best efforts. One of my mentors always tell me, never make your minimums your maximums. And a lot of times we especially young people, and I'm saying we have some great great millennials because I have experienced them, I have mentored them, and seen them wanting to thrive. But then I have seen the other ones. But again, it's what do you want for your life? So you got to understand and make that choice that you're to be significant and be intentional about what you're wanting to do and setting goals and working towards that. Not only just set it, but working towards that and never making your minimums your maximums. It's not okay just do what you want to do just to get by. What kind of life is that? God has called us to live a life of abundance. And for us to give out of our abundance and to live a life of abundance, that's what he's called. So why are we going to settle? Why are we going to settle for less than what God has for us? I know for me in my life, that's not going to happen. I'm going to do my best to move and to do and to have everything that God has called me to do. So when you're making your minimums, your maximums, you're just flowing in the status quo. You're missing the mark. You're missing that abundance. You're missing that greatness that is for you because it's already in you. Before you were in your mother's womb, he has a plan for you. He has hope for you. So before it's already in you. Everything that you need is already there. So you got to give your best effort in all that you do. No more staying for no, you can't. That's right. So you can't just do the bare minimum. No. Well, let me say this. You can. Okay. I'm not knocking you if that's what you want. But I'm talking to the people that wants that significant life, that abundant life, that greatness, that truly that to manifest their gifts and their talents and truly adulting with purpose. That's who I'm talking to. So no, for those people, you can't just do the bare minimum and just to scrape and scrap by. That's not acceptable. You have to go over and beyond. To the point where of service and helping people. And that is where you're going to see and truly see the value that you have and the value that you can give others. So give your best effort. No more mediocrity. Again, I give you a pass for the first half of 2020. I know it caught you off guard. I know it caught you off guard and you're trying to figure out what, how, all of that stuff. But now going into the latter half of 2020, now it's time to give your best effort. Okay. So that's number 4. Give your best effort. Next, we are moving right along. Number 5 is tap into your power of influence. And I talked about this a little on last week. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And influence is truly just adding value to others and serving others. Having a mindset that you're going to be a servant leader, right? So that is where your power lies. We are truly, I believe that's my core beliefs, that we have been created for God's glory and we get to give him glory. And then we're here to love other people using our gifts, using the talents that we have to help other people to see their light, to help them, to serve them. And that's what we're called on, because at some point we got to go. We're not here forever, right? So it has to be some type of purpose that we're here between when we were born and when we leave, right? So the question is how are you going to tap into your power of influence during that dash, right? Zig Ziglar says that if you first help others get what you want, then they will help you get what you want. And that right there, that statement is so true. And I never really understood it up until like when I got older. And I started doing community service when I was younger. And in my teens, I actually started. And what I found is as I grew older and truly in a mindset of service and helping other people, that is when I truly found out who I was. I learned so much about myself. I learned just kind of some of my giftings and some of my talents that I had. And it was that discovery that I had when I was serving others. And so I thought about that. why are we just called to serve? Why are we, why are we called to help people? Because the more we help, it's the law, it's a biblical law. The more we help, we give and we receive, right? So as I was giving, I was receiving more about myself. I was growing myself and understanding more about me. So when you tap into your power of influence, you have to be intentional about who you are serving and actually going out and doing it and truly making an impact, because that is where you're going to find your purpose. That's where you're going to find, who you are, understanding some of your gifts, understanding some of your talents. When I talk to a lot of young people, they question, do I have purpose? Do I have talents? I don't understand, what am I good at? Start serving. Trust me, start serving where you are, and those things will actually come out because it's innate. It's innate in you. Your gifts and your talents are things that you were birthed with. These are natural things, are giftings that will just kind of flow out you. And then you begin to recognize, hey, I'm good at administration. Hey, I'm good at leadership. Hey, I'm very creative with drawing. Or, hey, I'm good with hospitality. So these things start to come out when you serve. But if you don't, if you're just standing in there trying to figure it out, you got no basis. So that's why you want to tap into your power of influence so you can manifest your giftings and manifest and discover some of the purposes and some of the giftings that you have within. So during the last 2020, finding ways to serve, that is going to be, you have to ask yourself, how can I serve? Who can I serve? When can I serve? Ask yourself, that's how you're going to tap in to all of these things going forth and making the latter part of 2020 greater than the beginning. So tap into your power of influence is number 5. Number 6 is make every day count. Make every day count. And what I mean that every day you should be asking yourself 3 questions. Who can I help? How can I add value to them? And how can I improve myself? Who can I help? How can I add value to them? And how can I improve myself? And when we're looking at making every day count, you're talking about being strategic and being intentional about every single day. So it's not just a day that you wake up and you're like, what am I going to do today? Or, I don't know what I'm going to do today. No, you're going to be intentional about the day. So even before you wake up, when you wake up, you already had a plan because you took time the night before to assess and ask yourself those questions. Who am I going to help tomorrow? How am I going to add value to them? How am I going to improve myself tomorrow? So now you have a plan going into the day that's intentional. So now you're not wasting the day. Now that you're not going to squander the time that you have because you're going to be intentional about it. Because if you're more intentional about your time, then you will see to be able to leverage that time to that level of significance that you desire to go. So asking yourself these questions and being intentional about it, you're making every single day count. And now you're waking up with purpose. Now you have a new outlook on life. You have a new mindset. The world looks a little bit different. You're not just waking up, wondering, oh boy, what did 45 do while I was sleeping? Or what's going on social media today? Or who did this or who did that? No, you're waking up with purpose. You're waking up with passion because you know that there's someone that you're going to add value. There are people that your gifts and your talents is going to help, become better, to help them get to the next level. So that's what I'm talking about, making every day count. So again, we started off 2020 a little blurry, but now we're going into the second half and it's game time. It's on. So now it's every single day. You got to ask yourself, what are you going to do to make that difference? What are you going to do to make that difference in your life and to see that difference in your life so we can truly finish this year out strong, regardless of what's going on externally? So it's like we used to say, go hard or go home. This is the time that we got to do this, So the last strategy is number 7 is you got to be determined to finish well. You got to be determined to finish well. You have to make that resolve within yourself. This is an internal decision that you have to make within yourself that you're going to finish and finish well. So again, like I said, 2020 caught us off guard. We have been dealing with a lot. Some have been dealing with loss of loved ones, loss of jobs, loss of income. There has been a lot of shifting, a lot of unknown, a lot just a lot going on. We have the racial unrest that's going on. Things are coming out. So there's so much going on. We're still in a political era, so we have those issues going on. There's still so much going on. But like I said in the beginning, that does not stop God's plan for your life. That does not stop what God has placed in your spirit. That does not stop the destiny that He has for you. It does not stop you using your gifts and using your talents. It does not stop the vision and the dreams that you have. It does not stop you moving forward and taking massive action. And that's what we have to do. You have to be determined that you're going to finish well and taking that massive action. And I said, adulting with action. This is game time is on. So it's going to be up to you to make a decision to say that, at the end of 2020, you're going to say, today was a good day. This was a good year. Despite all, this still was a good year. And that's where I want for the young people, I want for you to be. I know it's hard. I know this, especially adulting is hard on its own, but adulting during a pandemic is even harder. And I understand that. And I'm with you and I'm supporting you. But I want to encourage you. It's not the end and be all. There is another pages and pages for you to write your best story. Your chapter is not over. It's not over. It gets better. We get through this, but you make a decision to finish well. So you have to ask yourself the question, are you willing to make the shift from good intentions to intentional living? Are you willing to make the shift from good intentions to intentional living? Because that is what's going to help you move forward and to make 2020 better than when we started out. And that's no matter where you are in the process. And I say that because now is the time that, whether you were thinking about going back to school. Okay, so what are you doing? What are you going to put that into action? Schools may be closed, but while they're in that decision process, how are you researching? What do you need for enrollment? Is your resume up to date? Do you have right recommendations? Have you taken the proper test? This is the time where you start to get prepared. If you are if you weren't in college or you're at a job and you were furloughed, who's hiring? What talents and what skills can you have that are transferable that you can do something else in the meantime? Maybe you can create something. If you are had an idea of starting a business, how are we laying that foundation? What's your business plan? Did you take time to write a business plan? This is the time where we're going to do that. This is the time we're going to take massive action. So the latter half of 2020 is going to be something that's going to be great. That's truly going to manifest what God has called you to do. So that is my 7 points for today. I hope I said something that was helpful for you, that you can take, that you can truly put into action. These tips, these strategies are just not for my health. These are things that I've actually gone through. These are things that people that I know who have been successful and who are living a life of significance have gone through in the thought process. So these are things that are practical for you to think about, for you now to take action, so you can truly manifest what God has called you to do and who He has called you to be. Thank you, Alex. Alex said all great points. So, like again, I hope I said something that was helpful. We will be back again on Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Announcements. If you haven't, the journal is available on Amazon.com. So go to Amazon, get Adulting in My Purpose. If you didn't have it, if you don't have a copy, you can go to Amazon.com to get that. Also, we do have an Adulting in My Purpose Facebook group for millennials. So if you are wanting to come in and have a community of like-minded people who are there to hold each other accountable, send encouraging words and to kind of help you with this journey, look us up on Facebook. We'll be glad to have you. And then also, I'm going to be launching the Adulting in My Purpose course. Yes, we are moving to a course. So this course will be full with live coaching, video lessons. We'll do the journal study, and you'll have access to a bonus site that has more activities and strategies to help you in this process, so you can grow both personally and professionally, and truly reach the desires that you want, reach your dreams, and not only see and see and own, but truly achieve your dreams. And that is the purpose of this whole movement, I call it, to help you with that. So look out for that. Registration will start July 15th. So go ahead and look out for that if you're interested in growing, if you're interested in moving to the next level in your life with Adulting in Your Purpose. So again, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. We'll be again next Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.